How's it going, you sexy beasts? It's about time we take another dive into more upcoming content scheduled for Planetside 2, what it means to you, and hopefully give you some insight on what to expect from Sony in the future. I'm well aware that game update number 10 was rather lacking on big, shiny changes, and if that disappointed you, then update 11 will probably be about the same. If you watched the Command Center episode streamed from E3, then you're probably aware that update 11 was dubbed a refinement patch, meaning update 11 will cut off some more fat from Planetside 2 in terms of gameplay mechanics and balancing. Not too far off in the distance though are some more cosmetic items and even some more unique weapon models. Mr. Joshua posted some test server pass notes covering game update 11, so I'll be linking that thread in the description below. Keep in mind that most of this is either speculation or subject to change. Please use this video more as a vague scope of what is to come, not what is confirmed. So sit back, grab a delicious beverage, and let's cover some potential content for Planetside 2. The largest change you can expect from Update 11 will have to be the increase of resources for nearly every vehicle, including the Max. Going down the list, the Flash has changed from 25 resources to 150. Sunderers were kept at 400 resources. Lightnings were changed from 200 resources to 400. Empire-specific main battle tanks were changed from 250 to 450 resources. Empire-specific fighters were changed from 200 to 250. The Galaxy was kept at its 350 resources. Harassers were changed from 200 resources to 400. And last but not least, the Max was changed from 100 resources to 350. Apparently this change is going to be put in place to help balance out the resource cost of each item to how much income players receive. Currently you can spawn a main battle tank, get it utterly destroyed, and by the time your cooldown is complete you're back to having max vehicle resources. This change just seems more like numbers to me instead of actually affecting gameplay, but then again, I could be completely mistaken. Hopefully we'll see the complete resource revamp the closer we get to Planetside 2's release on the PlayStation 4. Flak weaponry is getting a bit of a balancing tweak, both a nerf and a buff depending on which type of weapon you're discussing, and if you're using the bursters coupled with a Terran or Vanu max ability. The Nanite system's bursters for max units are getting hit pretty hard to help reduce their extremely long range effectiveness. They'll be getting a cone of fire bloom over constant fire, making drawn out fire become less accurate over time. Also, bursters will have a drop in accuracy if fired while moving, so standing still will have to be a must if you're trying to hit anything flying toward you or your allies. Since bursters have been extremely strong across Zoe and Lockdown maxes, the bonuses given from these Empire-specific abilities are going to be toned down, but only for these weapons. If you strictly run a Terran Lockdown burster max, expect to have your effectiveness dropped quite a bit in the next patch. In regards to the Zoe, more damage will be taken while it is active as well. Small change, but keep in mind, you're going to be a tiny bit more squishy, or a hell of a lot more squishy in the next patch. I'll cover any specific numbers that are increased, or released rather, upon patch day, so keep an eye out. Finally, for flak weapons, the Lightning Skyguard turret is getting a massive buff, giving it increased projectile velocity, increased accuracy, and other stat changes to make the tank weapon viable once again. This change goes perfectly with the max burster changes, giving the Skyguard a role to fill in the battlefield, as opposed to everyone and their mother having dual burster maxes. A few weapon changes are coming down the pipe with Update 11, and that's focused on shotguns and the Empire-specific heavy weapons for the Heavy Assault class. All shotguns are having their per pellet damage reduced to help make accurate shots be more rewarding, as opposed to spraying wildly and getting a kill with a few stray pellets. Personally, I think they could have just made the pellet spread tighter as opposed to nerfing the damage outright. As it currently stands, each pellet deals 134 damage, giving shotguns a 7 pellet kill. After the patch, shotguns will deal 125 damage per pellet, which will require 8 pellets to down a target. I don't see this affecting pump shotties that much, but it's still a rather odd change to me. Like I said, could just be alleviated through a tighter spread. With pump shotties in mind, their default loaded shell count is being reduced from 5 shells to 4. This is to bring pump shotguns down in line with other shotguns and their killing potential per magazine. Extended magazines still affect the shotguns the same, with 2 additional shells. Empire-specific weapons are getting adjusted a tiny bit to help them fit into the role for which they're designed. The conglomerate's jackhammer maximum magazine capacity is being increased to 9 rounds, and the burst fire rate is going to be increased. Funny how they try and buff the jackhammer while also reducing damage per pellet for all shotguns. The jackhammer is still going to stay pretty worthless and underused, solely due to how situational the weapon is. Speaking of situational, the Terran's mini-chaingun is getting a slight rework. In its current iteration, the chaingun has to spin up its barrels before firing. With the upcoming change, the chaingun will be able to fire immediately but at a slower pace and gradually ramp up to its maximum fire rate. Hipfire accuracy for the mini-chaingun is getting increased to help sustain fire, but with the amazing aimed accuracy and minimal bloom, I'd love to see how this weapon will work in medium range engagements. Last but certainly not least, the Vonner's Lasher is having a rather sizable buff. Both fire rate and damage are being increased, while also dealing less damage to friendlies. The Lasher is pretty unique right now, and with more damage, more bullets, and less hurt allies in the process, it's going to be a pretty sweet weapon when trying to flush out enemies that you can't quite hit normally. In regards to weapons, T-Ray stated he wanted to make a Nanite system submachine gun in one of the Command Center episodes, and he's finally sat down and made a 3D model for his idea. The SMG features a bullpup magazine load where the magazine is actually held in the stock of the weapon. This SMG comes fully loaded with tactical rails to boot, a sleek looking design, and a nice box frame. I'm hoping this weapon will deviate further from the current high fire rate SMGs to where it fires much slower but also hits much harder. There's absolutely nothing else for this weapon aside from it having a complete 3D model. No name, no stats, nothing. Just keep in mind that since it is Nanite Systems, when it does release, it will be available to all factions. The final bit I want to cover comes in the form of icons, camouflage, weapon models, and some helmets. These have been leaked for all the world to see, and I'll be posting a link to these pictures for you to check out yourself if curiosity were to grab you. There's nearly 100 pictures to show off, so of course I'm not going to be showing you every single one, but only the ones I find most interesting. Alrighty, so how many of you have been searching the leadership tree and find that it's kinda lacking aside from chat? Hopefully in the near future we'll be given the ability to create player-driven events, such as calling in an airstrike on a location, requesting reinforcements, or even calling some rolling thunder from tanks. Player-driven missions have been lightly discussed from Sony in the past, and with these icons it's surely going to be here soon. Only other question I have is, what benefit is there? Do we get experience for calling in the airstrike, or just performing the airstrike itself? Pretty cool concept, and I can't wait to see what it's actually done to implement it. There's also some new emblems that caught my eye, particularly their title and description. These icons are to show off your recruiter rank from the first rank of Attaché all the way up to Grand Ambassador. I'm assuming this is Planetside 2's form of recruiter friend, rewarding players who get their friends into the game. Aside from icons and what they're called, I know nothing else about this feature. Also, within the photo album, the cannons for the main battle tanks have the term referral in the title, so I'm assuming new cosmetics for weapons will be a reward for recruiting new players. I'd love to see some rewards for players bringing new people into the community to help Planetside 2 grow. Currently, I'd have to say that this community built around Planetside has got to be one of the best I've ever seen, and if you can reward those who help make it bigger and a better place, then I'm all for it. If anything else were to stem from these emblems, and possibly some more information on the potential recruiter friend service, expect me to be the first one to let you know. Final things to note about the content displayed in this photo album are the insane amount of cosmetic items coming through the pipe. We've got 3 more helmets, 1 for each faction, which look like they're further playing off of the previous set we were given. Luma Fiber has been extended to the Heavy Assault and Max classes, as well as additional Luma Fiber setups for the ESFs, main battle tanks, and the Harasser. New weapon models are to be expected soon, just like last patch, to help add more diversity between weapon visuals. More camouflage will be coming, such as the black tint crystallized pattern, the desert tile set, and the pixelate camo patterns for each faction. So there you have it, you sexy beasts. Some delicious content for you to keep an eye out, which will hopefully be coming to the live servers pretty soon. Remember that either none of these items could ever see the light of day, or maybe all of them will be hitting patch servers tomorrow. Take it with a grain of salt. Hopefully you guys liked this video, and if you did, please give it that awesome big ass thumbs up of yours. If you didn't, thumbs it down, let me know in what I can improve. Want to see more videos like this? Then go ahead and subscribe. It's free.